Today we're taking a look at these NCAAF matches, which are happening on Saturday, October 22nd, 2022, and giving you our match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Oregon State Beavers vs Colorado Buffaloes. For the year, the Buffaloes are 116th in the nation in passing offense, as they average 171.7 yards per game through the air. Colorado is 106th in the FBS in rushing offense, as the team averages 113.8 yards per contest on the ground. The Buffaloes are 128th of the 131 FBS teams to take the field this season in scoring offense, as they average 14.5 points a game. Colorado is an equally dismal 127th in scoring defense, as they allow 38.2 points a contest. Owen McCown is 57 of 100 passing for 600 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. JT Shroud is 30 of 67 passing for 301 yards with 3 touchdowns against 1 interception, while Brendan Lewis, 15 of 24, 92 yards, 43 rush yards, has also seen action this season. Dean Smith leads the team on the ground with 46 carries for 243 yards plus a score. Anthony Hankerson, 35 carries, 140 yards, 2 TD, Charlie Offerdahl, 27 carries, 131 yards, and Alex Fontenot, 20 carries, 84 yards, are also active in the run game. Daniel Arias has hauled in a team-high 18 passes for 295 yards, plus a score this season. Montana Lamonius Craig, 13 catches, 168 yards, TD, and Jordan Tyson, 9 catches, 126 yards, 2 TD are the only other players with more than 71 receiving yards on the year. Cole Becker has hit 9 of 10 extra point attempts and 6 of 7 field goal attempts, with a long of 43 this season. The Beavers are 58th of the 131 FBS teams to take the field this season in scoring offense, as they put up 31.3 points per contest. Oregon State is 58th in scoring defense, as they allow an average of 24.7 points per game this season. Chance Nolan is 66 of 111 passing for 939 yards with 7 touchdowns and 8 interceptions this season. He is 5th on the team with 75 rushing yards plus a score. Ben Gulbranson, 47 of 78, 616 yards, 3 TD, 3 INT, 18 rushing yards, is next in line on the depth chart. Deshaun Fenwick leads the team on the ground as he has 80 carries for 356 yards and 4 touchdowns this season. Luke Musgrave, 11 receptions, 169 yards, TD, and Tyjon Lindsey, 16 grabs, 177 yards, TD, are all over the century mark in receiving yards this season. Atticus Appington is 9 of 10 on extra point attempts and 5 of 7 on field goal attempts, with a long of 40. Everett Hayes is 13 of 14 on extra points and 2 of 5 on field goals, with a long of 23 this year. Colorado may be coming in off a win in their last game, but that came at Folsom Field. It could be a challenge for the Buffaloes to contend on the road, where they are 0-3 on the season while getting outscored by a 120-40 margin. Oregon State has gotten solid play from Gulbranson as he steps in for Nolan, who has been out with a neck injury the last 2 games. The Beavers are playing good football and hung tough with USC at home in one of their 2 losses. Oregon State has been solid at home, going 2-1 straight up and 3-0 ATS in those games. With Colorado struggling on the road this season, you have to give the Beavers the upper hand here with minus 23.5 points. Both defenses have been giving up points in their last 3 games, as Colorado is allowing 33.7 points per game, while Oregon State is giving up 26.3 points per game in that same stretch of games. I understand seeing Colorado's 14.5 points per game is daunting for the over, but they have scored 20 points in each of their last 2 games, so the offense is beginning to turn up. Oregon State should carry the load offensively in this matchup, and guys like junior running back Deshaun Fenwick on the ground to continue moving the ball. The defenses have been able to force enough turnovers to get solid field position as well. The over has hit in 5 of the last 7 games against one another, so go with over 50.5 points in this game as well. Wyoming Cowboys vs Utah State Aggies. For Utah State, a slow start to the season might be too much for this group to overcome when it comes to winning the Mountain West, though a string of back-to-back victories might have them in the right direction. Last week saw them take down Colorado State, though only by 3 points, while the previous week was one of their best wins of recent memory, as they were able to beat Air Force. Having to be on the road for the second straight week is likely to cause some issues in itself, but this is an experienced group and won't be daunted by Saturday night's road game. Wyoming has its eyes set on its own divisional title in the Mountain West, and after grabbing the win against New Mexico last week, was able to get things trending back in the right direction. After back-to-back losses in their previous 2 games, this group will be looking for some consistency going forward. It should help that they have a pair of easy games coming up next in Hawaii and Colorado State. If they can take down Utah State, then they have a good chance at springing together a lengthy winning streak down the back half of the schedule. After taking down Utah State with ease last season, as well as being at home in this one, confidence will be high for this group. Wyoming will have no issues grabbing the win against Utah State for the second straight season, and being at home will be a huge reason why. For Utah State though, their questions at quarterback lead to concerns as to who will be taking the snaps under center, and those concerns come at a difficult time as they hit the road. For Wyoming, consistency at running back is key, and their ability to move the ball on the ground will be evident in their ability to control the clock in this one. Additionally, according to Covers.com, Wyoming is 4-1 at TS in the last 5 meetings between the two teams, while the favorite is 7-2 at TS in the last 9 meetings overall. Our team pick is Wyoming, -4.5. Utah State comes in averaging 368.3 yards per game and 19.9 points per game. The Aggies average 173 yards per game rushing. Utah State switched to junior quarterback Cooper Legas after the loss to Weber State, and the offense has been better since that change was made. Defensively, the Aggies are giving up 380.3 yards per game and 31.7 points per game. Utah State stats are slightly skewed by the 55-0 loss to Alabama, obviously a team much better than anyone the Aggies will face the rest of the year or in their conference. Even though the Aggies have had a strong rushing attack all year, Cooper Legas will likely be out for this game, so Utah State's passing game should be more limited. Utah State is averaging over 173 yards per game rushing, and with a backup quarterback likely to pay, this team will focus on establishing the ground game and shortening the game. The Aggies have been able to run almost all year, and their running game should keep the clock rolling most of the time they have the ball. Wyoming has been very inconsistent all year offensively, and Peasley continues to struggle. The junior completed less than 50% of his passes even last week in a Cowboys win against New Mexico. The Cowboys have failed to score 20 points 3 times this season already, including against bad defenses like Air Force. Peasley has also averaged less than 6 yards a pass in 3 of his last 5 games. Neither of these teams is likely to stretch the field with big plays. Take the under 42.5 points. California Golden Bears vs Washington Huskies. The Washington Huskies and their vaunted passing attack came back to life on Saturday afternoon in a win over Arizona. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. set a school record with 516 yards and threw for 4 scores and ran for another in a 49-39 home win. Washington is now 5-2 overall and 2-2 in the Pac-12 this season. The Cal Bears get set to host the Washington Huskies with 3 losses in their last 4 games. Cal lost their second straight game last Saturday in Colorado, 2013 in OT, giving Colorado their first win of the season after an 0-5 start. Colorado scored first in OT, and, when Cal was unable to convert in their ensuing possession, the Buffaloes had their first win of the season at the Bears' expense. Cal is now 3-3 on the season. This matchup seems like a contrast in styles that will not play out well for the Bears. While the Huskies' defense has been vulnerable with a 92nd ranked scoring defense in the country, Cal has scored just 22 points in the last 2 weeks and looks lost on offense. In addition, Cal comes into this matchup with the nation's 93rd ranked pass defense. That will not bode well against the Huskies' number 1 ranked passing offense. Had the Huskies not lost 2 straight games prior to the Arizona win, perhaps this game would be a trap game prior to the Huskies' 2-game set coming up against Oregon State and then Oregon. No such luck for Cal, and the Bears and their beleaguered head coach will be in for a long afternoon against Washington's passing game. Cal should be able to make some headway against Washington's 117th ranked pass defense, but not nearly enough with this modest line. The road team also happens to be 7-2 at TS in the last 9 meetings between these two teams. Lay the -7.5 points and take the Huskies. Washington is averaging 42.1 points per game. They are throwing for 380 yards and rushing for 132.3 yards per game. Michael Penix Jr. completed 82% of his passes for 516 yards and 4 touchdowns in the win over the Wildcats. Cameron Davis had 8 carries for 41 yards and 2 touchdowns, while Rome Ottens had 9 catches for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. California is averaging 23.7 points per game. They are throwing for 252.7 yards and rushing for 128.7 yards per game. Jack Plummer completed 56% of his passes for 262 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception in the loss to the Buffaloes. Jade Knott had 16 carries for 47 yards, while Mavin Anderson had 6 receptions for 61 yards. The Huskies are averaging 42.1 points per game and 35 points per game on the road. They average 20 points per game in their last 3 games against the Golden Bears. They have the best passing attack in the country, and they're facing one of the worst pass defenses in the country, so expect them to score at least 30 points in this game. The Golden Bears are averaging 23.7 points per game and 34.3 points per game at home. They averaged 18.6 points per game in their last 3 games against the Huskies. They struggled offensively in recent games, scoring less than 20 points in 3 of their last 4 games while facing inferior competition, so don't expect them to score enough points to push the score over the total. The Golden Bears and Huskies played under the total in 3 of their last 4 meetings. Take the under 56.5 points. Nevada Wolfpack vs San Diego State Aztecs. San Diego State managed to scratch out a win over Hawaii at home in their previous game and had 2 weeks to prepare for this contest. The Aztecs entered this game 3-3 overall and 1-1 in the Mountain West's West Division as they look for their 2nd straight win here to climb over the .500 mark. Against Hawaii, San Diego State led 3-0 after the opening quarter, 10-7 at the half, 10-7 after 3 quarters and 13-7 early in the 4th quarter. The Aztecs gave up a touchdown to trail 14-13 with 1:19 to play before going 56 yards in 7 plays to set up the game-winning field goal from 26 yards away with 7 seconds to go. San Diego State held a 417-342 advantage in total offense, rolled up 22 first downs while allowing 17, dominated time of possession from 36-10 to 23-50, and forced the game's lone turnover. Nevada started the season 2-0, but things have gone sideways for the Wolfpack since that point. Their defeat at Nevada marked their 5th straight loss, dropping them to 2-5 overall and 0-3 in Mountain West play on the season. Against Hawaii, Nevada never led in the game as they trailed 14-7 after the opening quarter, 21-13 at the half, and climbed within 21-16 after 3 quarters. The Wolfpack ran out of gas, getting outscored 10-0 in the 4th quarter to wind up with a loss. Nevada lost the total offense battle 396-277, were edged 30-26 to 29-34 in time of possession, and each team turned the ball over once. The Wolfpack held a 19-17 edge in first downs but were unable to come up with points. Both teams have struggled this season. Neither team can throw the ball with any kind of success. San Diego State is 5th worst in the FBS, while Nevada is in the bottom 15 of the country in that department. In addition, both teams are solidly in the bottom quadrant in the FBS when it comes to putting points on the board, so don't expect an offensive bonanza here. At the end of the day, you have to look at the defensive performances of both teams in this contest. San Diego State is by far the better defensive team, and they should be able to shut down a mediocre Nevada offense. Take the Aztecs on the road here as they make it 2 straight wins. Our team pick is San Diego State Spartans -7 points. In Maiden, the fifth player to take snaps for the Aztecs this season, it looks as if they may have found something to be confident in behind center, and that could produce a lot more than the 4 total TD passes by the team this season. SDSU averages just 108.3 passing yards per game, the 5th lowest in the country. Quarterback Nate Cox hasn't thrown a touchdown in his last 3 starts, and his 34.5 QB rating is 110th in the country. The Wolfpack's brightest light on offense has been running back Toa, who has team highs in rushing yards, 453, and total touchdowns, 8, and is tied for second with 22 receptions. The last 4 games in this matchup have averaged a total of 43.3 points, and that number grows if you want to go back even further. Though we aren't looking at 2 of the more prolific offenses in the country, these 2 have combined to average 40.2 points per game this season. In the last 5 games between these teams, the over is 3-1-1. Though it may be close, we really like the over 36.